Hi, guys. Welcome to Wayfinder, where I Hulk smash my way through limiting beliefs and fears to do a podcast and come out and share with you a little bit about how I'm becoming more authentically who I am and the healing process behind that. I'm one Wayfinder, and you can be one Wayfinder too. So today I'd like to start with, for anyone who saw my first video, you probably thought, she could do, whatever. I hope that if anyone watches it, that you got some value out of it. And I'll just say that I watched it, obviously, and it was a huge fear of mine to start this. And I really actually watched it with I was just so proud of myself for overcoming a fear of doing it and posting it, and you know, just starting the process. So and even like for like a full 24 hours after that, I felt like my heart was healing. So I just want to say thank you so much for bearing with me through that. I know I had a few ums when I started, and I was just trying to find my way around actually doing it. And my voice was a little, I actually have some tea today, tea with lemon, so that my voice comes through a little more strongly and I don't get garbled up in there, which I guess you don't totally always notice is happening unless you're watching yourself on a video. So let's get started. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about actually what happened after I watched that as well. I remembered a triggering event that really compelled me to start looking at me and getting on my journey. And that triggering event was, what some people call an ego death. The ego can be a good thing in some ways, but it also can sort of feed us lies about our lives and about the truth about ourselves and who we are, and who we think we are. It's just it can be this whole like narrative. And so what happened was I ended up coming out of work. I had a beautiful, beautiful career that I absolutely loved. There were some aspects of it that I didn't love. Um, but what I will say is that I really didn't love it. And I really felt like I was doing good for the world through it. And so it gave me a lot of, it warmed my heart in that way. Um, but I had to come out because I was not well. I was sick. And I say had to. Um, I, I, I realized I could not keep going. And I often say like I felt like 3 feet under at that point, and it was really, really difficult, very difficult. And over the course of time, I realized that. I mean, at first, I was just suffering from depression. I was eating a lot of buffalo chicken wing dip and drinking hard cider, and watching that show Shameless on Netflix, which, if you're not in a good place, not a good thing to watch. Not that it's not funny, it's funny, but you start to feel like, you have to manage what you're taking in and what you're putting in your brain and how it can make you feel and what can manifest from that. Because I felt almost like out of control because if you've ever seen it, it's crazy. I have family members like that. Um, and maybe I was like that before I went through my journey. But anyway, at that moment, it all was hitting me really, really hard. Well, first I can say I think I slept for 4 months when I came out, and then after that, it was just like trying to medicate myself to make myself feel better. Right? Like I love buffalo chicken wing dip, and I ate a lot of it. So anyway, I started to realize that I was very attached to, through kind of saying, like, I need something to change here. And I started to realize that I was more attached to some of the things that I got from that career, like the title and the recognition and the kudos, you're doing such a great job. I was more attached to some of those things than was healthy, right? So I came out, and of course, I feel bad physically, really bad, and uh, but I also had to realize that those things that I had attached to were not as important as me becoming healthy. They were so incredibly secondary, and that what my ego wanted more of was to be in that place of, praise and some, yes, it's good to feel some level of accomplishment. But when your identity is wrapped up in your career and then something happens, it is like absolutely life altering, right? And it's a check, double check, and you can take it either way. I suppose I could have tried to disregard any lessons from that, or disregard anything that could tell me about myself and how I was handling it. But I chose to kind of really take a look at it and realize that, I had allowed something to feed my ego like like a beast, like feed my ego. And so, maybe I walked around like I was hot stuff or something. I don't even know. But, recognizing that and seeing that, um, I realize now that titles, even whether it's mom or, grandma or, whatever titles it is that, people go by, it's sort of a way to lose yourself in a sense if you get kind of too caught up in what that title means to you, or again back to some of the self-limiting beliefs that may have been passed down from others, or what you just cultivated through your experience here, um, that you attach yourself to. And so I think I started to look at each title, and that's been a process. It really has. It's been imperfect because um, one of my one of my I think downfalls is sometimes I can give too much and then give of myself too much. And when you do that and your cup isn't being filled back up, not necessarily by other people, by the way, I don't mean that. What I mean is being filled back up by you loving you. If you don't have time, or you don't, I should say, take time to fill your own cup with the things that you enjoy, or even getting on your journey and making it a priority, I feel like, it's it's not sustainable. So I've had to work through some of those things, and I'm really still working through some of those things. But I'm actually really hopeful that sharing this with you today actually increases my healing through some of those things that I mentioned. Um, and I would like to just take a moment to back up about the things that you let into your head, especially when you're down. Um, you know, I'm just going to make a strong recommendation if you need it. I mean, this would be like if I were sitting with, people who wanted to hear what I thought, I would say, what I ended up doing is I turned the television off. I stopped watching television for a while. And it was such a huge blessing because I was able to see things differently, and I didn't have things kind of popping into my brain from outside, that outside influence. Um, and I will say too that I also went into a space of neutral observation, at times to be able to manage my own emotions and determine what I would say is being watchful of the interactions that you're having with people or people having with people or what's going on in your life. But, really working hard to not respond. And then I felt like what I call clean data points. I feel like I got clean data points about some things that were going on in my life at that time. So I know that I cruelly benefited from taking some time to evaluate sort of why was I so crushed by this thing, and to also look at my own inputs or my own responses, and going on that quest to try to understand what was going on me that was impacting me, and then a quest to remove some of those things or at least manage some of those things. So today I'm just going to leave it there, keep it short. I will pop a song or two. If you didn't see the first video, I'll just link it below because I talk about how it was that I got started on starting my journey. And I actually, as much as I kind of fumble over some things, I hope you hang in there with it if you're interested, because I think there's some valuable information in there, especially related to trauma, which will be in my next video. So, yep, I'll pop a song in as a link as well, the Tiny Riot song. So if you watch the first one, you know why I'm putting that in there. Anyway, thank you so much for being part of this journey with me if you're watching this video, and I love you.